Hi, today we're going to be hanging an ETC source for ellipsoidal. This instrument right here, we're going to hang it on the pipe next to me. The instrument, when it first comes off the rack, is in this condition. The shutters are pushed in, the safety cable we keep hooked onto the light, and the instrument lead wire is all tucked in like this. So the very first thing you have to do is a little bit of preparation work to get it ready to hang. The prep work is easy. Main thing you're going to want to do is pull out the shutters. Additionally, you want to make sure that the clamp is facing the right direction. The rule is, on a gallery like this, the clamp should face into the gallery. Makes it just a little tiny bit easier to work on the light. But now, this thing is ready to hang. There's one more little small detail. This is facing up. This is upside down. It's facing down. The way you can tell is the color filter holder right here will let the color filter frame fall out if you're upside down. The reasons for hanging it right side up are actually a little more complicated. They have to do with the heat buildup inside of the light. You really don't ever want to hang lights upside down. You need them to be straight up. So you just get the light over the pipe and tighten it all the way hand tight first. Don't let go. Keep going. So once you get it hand tight, that's the point where you can't do it anymore without the wrench. Here's my happy little wrench, my crescent wrench. It's on a lanyard because I'm at height. I'm 12 feet above the stage floor. If I were to drop this, the chances of me hitting someone or something with my old wrench are pretty good. So I have it safetied off with a lanyard. You want to get it tight to the point where it's just about like this. The wrench, let me see if I can make it do its trick. The wrench will leave a little mark on your hand for a split second. I don't think I did it. You definitely don't want to go screaming white knuckles tight because it'll break the clamp. It'll also tends to deform this piece of pipe and leave a nasty little scar in it. You also want to make sure once you're done with the wrench that when you grab it and wiggle it, it doesn't slide along on the pipe. So now this is ready for me to undo the electrical cable and for me to connect the safety cable. The safety cable, there's two ways of doing it. One is you put it around the pipe and through itself and then hook the hook into this lovely accessory ring right here. From the back, it's hard to do, but go on. There. And that's good. The safety cable will prevent the light from falling if the clamp breaks. The second way to do it, let me just show you. In some theaters, they have a different type of lighting instrument, which doesn't come with this way cool little eye. The second way to do it is you just hook it around the yoke of the light and snap the cable in, and same difference. Another way that we like to do it around here, a lot of times, is we leave the safety cable in the light like this. So that it's sort of a permanent resident of the light. And then all you have to do is go up around the pipe and hook it in, and it's done. All three ways work. All three ways are adequate. All three ways will get you a job in theater, especially if you know them all. Now this light is ready to be pointed roughly at the stage. So to do that, all I have to do is loosen this little T-handle right here, and then it'll tip up and point towards the stage, which is right down there. The reason for doing that is, there my shutters weren't all the way out. The reason for doing that is you want, when troubleshooting's happening, when they're turning on the lights for the very first time, you don't want these lights pointed over into curtains or into scenery or down onto a pile of paper on the floor, because they are hot and they will set things on fire. The hottest part of the light is the air right in front of the lens. It gets extremely warm. So you go ahead and just sort of pre-point it at the stage. It's not really crucial. Don't spend a lot of time on it, and that's good. The connector, you just leave this hanging down. That way it's real obvious to everybody that this thing still needs to be plugged in. Now, there's two more bolts I'm going to show you on the clamp. It's called a pan bolt. When it's loose, it will allow the light to turn around on the axis and point at different things. Usually you leave that just tight, just like that. It's a little tiny bolt, so don't over tighten it because it will snap off pretty darn quick. The second bolt, let me get this where you can see it. Second bolt is right here under the yoke. This is called a yoke bolt, obviously, the yoke bolt. And what it will do, if it's loose like this, is the light will be all kinds of wiggly jiggly, and you'll be wondering, what on earth is wrong with this? So this thing needs to be snugly tightened like that, and life is good. Now, this light is mostly ready to go. It still needs a color filter, and it still needs to be connected. One good test is just take your hand and give the light a little jiggle. And like I said earlier, if it slides around, swings around wildly, you know it's not tight. It still needs some work. This is okay. There's a little bit of normal play in the fittings and in the castings. So it's not going to be like a piece of stone, but it's actually pretty good. It doesn't swing around. You can bump into it, it won't move. So this is a color filter. You can see color filters get numbered. The number is just right out there in front of everybody. They usually have a letter right in front of them. This one, for some reason, does not. Somebody was lazy when they were cutting and labeling these things. These things come in big sheets, and you cut them down to size. So the color filter just goes all the way in, and then you snap this little retainer into place, and it's good. It stays in place. It can't slip out. The last thing, when it's time to plug it in, here is the outlet that this is going to be connected to. This is the end of a it's on a breakout. I know somewhere deep inside me what circuit number it is that this actually represents, but right now I can't remember. You just simply plug the light in. It takes a little bit of force to get it done. And then it is done. It is okay for this cable to be draping down loosely. This cable is high temperature insulation made out of silicone and fiberglass. It's okay to touch the side of the light. It won't burn. The one place where it's not okay is you don't want the cable to end up in front of the light. The front of the light, like I said earlier, is extremely hot. So you need it to be draped along the side like this. You don't tie this up on purpose because it is not that strong. If you made a habit of tying these instrument cables to a pipe, in pretty short order, in a couple of years, the fiberglass insulation would actually be worn off on the outside. It would have such an abrasion problem that you'd be down to the wires on the inside before you know it. Also, during a lighting hang, it's not uncommon to discover that the light has a problem, and you may need to quickly take the burn base out, replace it with a different burn base from one of the other working lights, and have this one repaired. So being able to just unplug, unscrew, take it out is a great advantage. Sometimes in theater work, the cables are not so simple as one cable running to one light. Sometimes you have a big loom of 24 different cables. The last thing you want to have to do is untie this thing out of a cable loom and have the whole loom come loose. Then you fix your light, get it all put back together, and you have to pick up a couple 100 pounds of cable again and get it all tied back on the pipe. That is not much fun. So the rule is never, ever, ever tie cable high temperature lead wires. For the regular jumpers, and in this case a breakout, yes, tie that one down and keep it tied. And that's it. Okay, now imagine the show is done. It's time to strike. Striking the light, you do just about everything in reverse order. So imagine You come up to the light, you unclip the gel holder. Come on. There you go. That gets struck, put on the floor, nice and neat. You unplug the light. You push in the shutters, all 4 of them, all the way in. Shutters are very fragile. You don't want them to accidentally get bent over. Take the safety cable off. And come on. Very nice. Safety cables live back on the light, so don't lose this thing. We own a safety cable for every light, and we want to keep it that way. Very last thing, the loose instrument lead wire needs to get tucked in. The way you do it is you go around the light once and back through itself. Sort of a little loose knot. It's not really a tight knot, but it's just around and back through itself, and it's just like that. Otherwise, if you leave this thing dangling, when you're carrying these lights along, this will be slapping around on the floor. It'll trip you, it'll trip your friends, it'll make you mad. You need it to be all tucked in nice and neat. Lastly, very last thing, take your wrench and loosen this thing. Now it's down to hand tight, so you can just undo it. Takes a while. And get it down off the pipe, and it's done. Yay! And that's how you do it.